Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. How did I not become a Marxist? It's another night that looked gross because I work for a living, this is a topic I've wanted to cover, um, for some time because of a lot of things that's going on currently, and there's some things that have gone on in like the last maybe 5 years. How leftism is somewhat has there's like a resurgence of this. Or I don't know if it's a resurgence, but there's an appeal to leftism, appeal to Marxism, appeal to communism, socialism, all that crap on the left. There's an appeal to it by a lot of young Americans, and I've asked myself and I've asked friends, how did I not gravitate towards that? How did I not get involved in that kind of stuff? Because I had plenty of opportunities to think like that. For one, being black. Because everybody, because apparently being a black is such a horrible existence in this country. Um, being I'm being I've been lower class. Or at least I've been, I don't say poverty. I don't think I can't really say that I've been. I don't know. Poverty to me is like what you would see in South Africa. I don't think I've ever been. I've never been that level, but I say I've been. Uh, I've had humbler means at one point in my life. You know, um, coming from a broken home, because my father was in prison throughout the majority of my childhood. And it's one. So I guess I've had opportunities where it seemed like I would adopt the wokeness. I would adopt it. Leftist policies. A leftist way of thinking, but I haven't. I never did, and it seems as though it never really appealed to me. So I can think back. I'm thinking back on that question. How did I never become a Marxist? How did I become someone who not only just never really adopted it, but completely opposes Marxist ideology. And a couple of things that I came up with. For one, if you guys already know through my videos, if you know me personally, I love being American. Clearly, you know, I know I really do. I love the land in which I was born. Um, and despite all our faults, I love this place. I'm thankful to have been privileged to be born and live in such a place. So many opportunities afforded to me. So many privileges that I have here that many people, you know, they'll cross through. They'll go through hell, hell and high water, basically. Literally speaking, they'll go through all those things to get here because they see this place as being far better than what they're experiencing where they come from. And funny enough, a lot of people who are leaving those areas are leaving leftist countries. They leave in countries that have a leftist culture, left leaning culture, heavily left leaning culture. Cuba for one. People floating about 90 miles on makeshift floats and milk jugs and tires, whatever floats in the world, they'll float across shark infested waters to get here. You know, if there are people breaking their necks to get to this place, then yes, that means there's something about this land that's worth loving, that's worth supporting, worth defending. So yes, the first thing is I could think of is why I never adopted Marxist ideology. I love being American. You know, many people know, like I said, many people know me in my personal life. They can attest to this. I can think they may even say to a fault, I love being American, and I can't see, I don't ever see that changing. Another thing I can think of that this is very important. Um, is that I'm a follower and believer in Jesus Christ. Now, what does that have to do with not being a Marxist? Now, well, I've been that way for a long time, for a giant chunk of my life, a majority of my life, and I can say that the things I learned from studying the Bible, from being in the church, what I learned from other brothers and sisters in Christ, is that the individual is very, very important. The actions of the individual, whether it be good or evil, they will be taken account of. And so everything that I do, I have to be aware of what the consequences of those what those things are, what it can lead to, and that makes me appreciate being an individual, being someone who can actually have a faith and share with others, that recognizes the importance of individuality and how God loves each and every one of us. You know, about how he'll spare 10. He'll spare. He'll go as far as to spare 10, to spare 10 from destruction. If they've shown them, if they 10 out of how many other people, if they've shown themselves to be in good standing with him, and that's very important. That speaks a lot. That speaks a lot to me. I've seen many instances where there are people who have come from places that are just, makes you think that maybe one day God forsake this place, but there are still people there who who have not fell into despair. They still have they still have their faith, hope, and the charity in their heart that keeps them going. And those individuals, to me, are a testament to the value of having faith in Christ and following in His footsteps. And he was someone he is someone who talked about the individuals, who talked about how what a person what's in a person's heart, not what group they belong to, but what is in their heart, is all that matters. What comes out their mouth is what matters. What they do is what matters. And it has never been about what group they came from. None of that matters. So I would say that having that faith and walking in it through many of the ups and downs of my life, I've always had that, and I can say that that's something that's kept me from falling into this idea of believing in collectivism and believing in socialist ideas or these leftist policies. That's something I've always been I've been wary of those things, and where. What did they mean for individual liberty? What did they mean for just the person, not the group, but one person? What does that mean for that person? What does it mean for their rights? What does it mean for the gifts that God gave them? How will it affect them? So I've always been very wary of that way of thinking because of my faith and because of the walk I try to walk, and and other people seeing that. That's very important. So I'll say that's the second thing. The third thing, which I also am pretty sure you guys already know about me, I'm a gun nut, and I like firearms because of there's a line. I don't admire the sword for its the sword for its swiftness, or the soldier for his strength, but that which he defends. I have an appreciation for firearms, weapons in general, but definitely firearms, for what they can be used for, and then I see them as tools for defending, for individual defense, for defending and for coming to other people's aid. And what I've always recognized to happen in leftist countries, within leftist societies, Marxist societies, communist societies, things like that, that's one thing they always do. They will always want to make individuals defenseless because they have a plan for the masses at large, and it's never been good. It's never been good. Whether it be the Bolshevik Revolution, all the deaths that happened in Cambodia, and the killing fields, in Guatemala and Nicaragua, Cuba. As I mentioned, Cuba before, and also if you look at the Cubans are dealing with their own situation in their own land, and how they want liberty, and recognizing that the communism that they lived under for so long is never worked out. It's always it's a common theme that these people have been made defenseless, and they subsequently been they've met utter destruction. They've met subjugation, starvation, and death, genocide. Um, they had to be made weak, and I personally I don't like being in a position of I don't like being in a position of weakness in front of certain things, because I recognize that those things will be detrimental to not just my life and liberty, but the life and liberty of others. So, and also, as you know, that if you know about me from the things I said in my previous videos, and if you also know me personally, I love teaching people how to shoot. I love teaching people how to defend themselves. I don't like people being victims. So I recognize that, first, really, you are your own first responder, and you must always, and if you're capable, you must be ready to deal with threats that meet you. And so I love teaching people how to shoot, because I love people to be able to defend themselves. I come from a background of someone who's been bullied, and I went through that as a kid. I don't want to go through that as an adult. And I've seen it. When as an adult, the stakes are definitely raised. So that's one thing, that why I never gotten into leftism. I've never gotten into Marxism. They love having defenseless people, um, in their control, and that just doesn't jive well with me. Another thing I mentioned is going back to what I was talking about with weakness. They Marxism, it appeals to people who are not necessarily weak physically, but weak morally, and they have severe emotional weakness. And even maybe in a sense mentally weak. They're weak-minded people, but really they really have a they grab it. It really does pull in people who are just consumed with envy, and just consumed with being gluttonous. People who have very little self-control, who don't want to take charge of their own lives. They don't like to own themselves. They don't like self-ownership. People who cannot they have not people who refuse to take responsibility and of their lives, they get pulled into Marxism. It's something I've noticed. If you look at people, you look at the woke crowd. If you look at all these people who love to claim that they're victims, they all generally are people who are just they're weak within themselves, and they love being around other people they love being around other weak people, because it makes them feel better about themselves. They don't have to challenge themselves. They don't have to question the current situation as to why they're in a position of weakness. Why do they feel weak? Why do they feel like they can't get out of the rut that they're in? And what it does is it tells them that there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with the person who is strong. There's something wrong with the person who is actually put together. The person that is well adjusted. And it takes that envy and turns into this, it turns into wrath to take out on people who are in no way shape or form responsible for the weakness of other people. If anything, one thing I notice about people who tend to be strong, they want other people to be strong. Just like I said about myself, when I teach people how to, I love shooting. I love being able to defend myself, and I want others to do the same. Um, and so I try to demonstrate that, through inviting people to go to the range, or better yet, I love Christ. I love following Christ, and I like for other people to do the same. So I try to demonstrate that and talk to other people about it, what my faith has done for me and what it can do for them. But Marxism says basically states that people like me, people who actually are put together, are the enemy. They're the reason why you are where you are. They're the reason why you are weak. They're the reason why you can't get your life together. They're the reason why you can't clean up your room. They're the reason why you can't make up your bed. And they have to pay for it, one way or the other. And I never taken on to that. I always thought it was I always thought it was silly. If anything, I actually thought of it as, as a man, I thought of it as being, I've always thought of it as being bitch made. I thought of it as being like, you have to think of yourself as, you have to really be a pussy to gravitate towards those things as a man. Um, that's how I've always felt about it. And I don't think that about myself, so I'm not gonna gravitate towards that. I don't think I'm a pussy. I don't think I'm a loser. So why would I want to identify with an ideology that promotes that? And the last thing I want to say, so not to keep this video from running on too long, they love destruction. And not in the demolition derby, not in the demolition derby, sense of destruction. 'Cause I actually like that. I like seeing, I love seeing, vehicles or things push past their limits to see where they can be strengthened, or see what weak points can be reinforced, things like that. They not that kind of destruction. They love the destruction of anything that's creative. They love destroying creation. They love destroying the human spirit. They love destroying human lives. They love this. They have this thirst, not a hunger, but they have a thirst for utter destruction. Whether it be children, whether it be sound structure, logic itself. They love seeing it. They love just seeing it crumble. They love seeing it destroyed. They love innocence. They love destruction of innocence, and I can't go along with that. I love repairing things. I love building things. Those things I love doing. I love restoring old tools. I love introducing love into other people's lives. Why would I want to introduce destruction? It's something harmful to other people, to other things, to other beings. Why would I want to do that? That's all Marxism. That's just a thing. Those are things you can find in true abundance within things in the left, and that's probably maybe the number one reason why I've not gravitated to that way of thinking. But please share your thoughts. What are your reasons for not being pulled into Marxism, not indulging in that kind of thing? Please share your thoughts. I love to read everybody's comments. Like, share, and subscribe. If you want to help out with the channel, go to my YouTube homepage. Look for the Give Up That Cheese button. They'll take you to PayPal. You donate any amount you would like. All is appreciated. Any gripes, complaints, see me up here. I see what I can do to address them. But hey, that's my video. How am I not a Marxist? I'm Edward Jones. You guys take care, be safe, stay strapped, and God bless.